Hello there. Thank you for having me, David. I'm Marcus, or Marcus Richard Bailiey, as you know, full name. I'm, I guess I would say, an ex esports professional, pro gamer. I've been in the industry for about 5 years. Best way to put it.
Very good. So, anything you want to elaborate on the intro? Would you like to say about this? It's 5 years in the industry. So, have you accumulated money? Did you get money from this? Do you have a large subscriber base? Do you want to have a large subscriber base? Do you want to continue this as a career?
I've retired as of now. Having a large subscriber base seemed to cause a lot of trouble for me and other people I've known. It created a lot of pressure for us. I started off as just a simple gamer. I earned a little bit of money doing side tournaments and hustles, basically training people as a coach, which is what I was currently doing until recently. I was training teams. So as general occupation, I can't say I've went too far into the industry, but I've learned a lot, such as production, such as audio, such as editing. When it comes to that sort of stuff, I have seen the ins and outs. I've seen the goods and the bads. My favorite game would either be Rainbow Six Siege or Sonic 06. If you know Sonic 06, you know it is a horrible game, but it is way too much fun with the glitches.
Okay. Now, what do you want to achieve in terms of your academia? Do you think gaming helps with your academia or hinders it?
As a child, it hindered me quite a bit because it became an obsession to the point where I couldn't really realize what I wanted to do. I had never decided on anything else bar gaming, which if I put a little bit more effort into my studies, I would have actually went farther in gaming. If I'd known that, I would have practiced a bit more in certain subjects because what I decided ended up being I just want to do home economics. I just want to learn to cook. I just want to get the basics of English, math, science, IT done. That's it. But I didn't realize that if I'd went to another country such as the UK, further in mainland, or America, I actually could have done gaming as a credential, which actually gets me a lot more jobs now. I would have learned more about production and editing than just somebody who's went on to YouTube videos and learned from home.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So you regret playing games too much, but then again, you do. I remember I was looking at universities. I applied to universities via UCAS. And there was this university I got rejected. Okay, I'm laughing because I got rejected.
No, that's good.
Okay, I did get rejected. Okay, so it's
it does have.
A bit silly of me to quote it, right?
No, it's okay. You learn from your experience.
There was a thing. It was UCL, University College London. I was being considered for a wee while anyway. But I recently got rejected. You can see that in my YouTube video if you want. Your viewers who are watching this video in the future.
Go
time weird. They said that gaming can help with study as well. Gaming can help with levels of depression.
Yes.
Levels of anxiety as well. So, in retrospect, if you actually look at this, you can actually say maybe it isn't the thing that hindered your academic record or aspects of it.
I wouldn't.
In terms of your ambition of your academic record, I know you said you wanted help. You said it would help you in the future if you had to focus more, which could be true. Games can distract. I would argue that first-person shooters, to be brutally honest, I prefer real-time strategy games.
Yes.
Okay, because I think or problem-solving games versus click and shoot. But then again, I play GTA 5 online, and it's bloody.
It is.
And also, it sort of detaches me from the reality of, well, not the reality, but it detaches me from the aspect of I'm trying to describe here of real life. You know, you don't have to.
It's escape. It gives you an escape.
It gets you down, it gets you depressed. It enables you to escape from that, right? So, what are you doing now?
As of now, I'm a coach for a team called Seismic. Well, it's called Simvic. Simprers Victorious. I'm right now teaching their COD team. their team has actually been growing little by little. It came to me as a team of people that had never touched a COD before. They all just bought Cold War and thought, hey, this is fun, let's try the esports. But when it came to it, they didn't know the mechanics, they didn't know how to play the guns. But after a little bit of training, they've realized, okay, aim placement, movement, everything is important. The game is not just a point-and-click adventure game. And as you said a minute ago, the game has actually helped quite a lot of them through a lot of things. I can't go into personal details, of course, but a lot of them had started with depression, or they had started with other mental illnesses, as I would like to call it. It's a bit tough calling it an illness, but a mental obstruction. Obstruction's a better word for it. And now they're actually starting to open up a bit more. They're getting more brighter. They're building confidence now, realizing that they started at the far side just in a little bit, but now they're moving the way across. They're making the way across, and they've realized they've got so much more to go for. Gaming is a good escape, yes, but there is a difference between the obsession of that is why I teach them as a coach to heal, and that is why I teach them as a person to be understanding and compassionate, because COD is a toxic place to play. Just like GTA or any game, it's toxic. You know, I'm sure you played them as a child. I remember starting them.
I don't know what it was. I've been on YouTube and I've been listening to people. I don't play Call of Duty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've been listening to some of the audio of some people who are, shall we say, very toxic in the lobby when they're screaming at each other. And it's rather bizarre, actually. But I can see that as well. Do you play in a tournament that you can win money on? Or do you play are you preparing? Are you trying to win a tournament? Are you just trying to get to a quarterfinal? Is it like a quarterfinal? Like I watch football.
Mm-hmm.
So in football, you've got a group stage. If the Champions League, you've got a round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Is it something like that? And every stage, do you get one question on top of that? Do you get more money? Do you get any money if you go to a certain component of a competition? If you enter a competition, you go to the quarters, do you get some money? It may not be much in comparison to the final, but do you get something out of it as well? And have you progressed with that team, with that mental block, to a certain component within the competition?
Okay, best way to explain this would just to be explaining the whole CDL format. So in all esports, you always start off with a single round elimination because there's too many people. There's thousands of teams. So one team has to keep winning at least 16 matches to get into the semis. And when you're into the semis, that's where this format changes. It becomes a round robin. So in a round robin, as you know in football, two teams will take a fight. Loser goes into the second bracket, loser's bracket. Then they have to work their way back up. And if they make it the whole way to the top, they can fight the winners again. It could be the same team they fought in the first round, or it could be a different one entirely. But in COD, they decided this was a good idea. But how do you get rid of the single elimination bracket? You add a point system. So now for COD, you do community cups, you do ladders, you do everything just to get 100 points a week, or 1,000 points sometimes for the community cup. And that's how you build up all the way, which I kind of find as it's a little bit sadistic, because that is 1,000 teams fighting every Saturday or Sunday trying to grind up. That means you have to finish your match within 40 minutes. You have to win at least 16 matches to get the total 1,000 and to keep pushing through. But with COD being the way it is, it's controller only. So mouse and keyboard got removed. It's still crossplay, but you can't use controller, you can't use mouse and keyboard on PC anymore. So that took out a large chunk of the player base. And since it's NA only, the EU teams are now deciding to do Challenger League Elite, and then they have to move from the EU to the NA, which that has caused a lot of stir as well. And Tarek, you want to say something? Go ahead.
I don't mind that, but through it all, have you earned any money, or have you got a chance to earn money? I mean,
we have a chance. The team,
any money recently?
Recently, I have. My team is not, because I would play Rainbow Six in my spare time. I would help teams doing their practices and scrims and stuff like that. I would be paid for that. Or when it comes to tournaments, I would end up getting my personal 5-stack of my friends. We'd go in and try to sweep it. We may lose maybe once or twice, but if we're good, We sweep it, we can win £300. We split that evenly between us. Understand?
That's decent money.
It can be.
It can be. You see, people have a view on games, right? Especially a certain generation. You can't deny that.
Yes.
And even when it comes to, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'll be brutally honest. Part of my brain sort of goes, bit weird.
No, yes.
I get it. I get to a certain point, but a different generation will go, no.
So
they will go, and literally they will laugh because they will think, maybe apart from the money, they will probably laugh. One thing is, I'm just preparing the reality of, I'm not saying they're right or wrong.
I understand. But if you don't mind me just...
not laugh, but they'll look down. But like YouTubers, right? Even though YouTubers earn a lot of money, etc., some people will look down for a different generation. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that is an aspect of what you have to deal with. And if you go into higher levels of competition, have you ever dealt with people, I don't know, because esports, you play as a team electronically against another team. Has the team ever been abusive to you, the opposition?
Multiple times. We've also had infighting in our own team. But that kind of brings up the point of esports, whether it's good or not. I'm just going to tell you 3 stories. Tell me if I'm going off on too much of a tangent. So, first story, this is a sad, bad one that's only been 2 weeks old now. There was a young COD mobile player, a girl in Brazil. She was playing her game with her friends. She was playing in an online lobby. Another pro ended up joining in the enemy team. That pro ended up becoming toxic. This story gets a little bit sad here. A girl who's only 18, only just signed up to one of the most professional rosters in Brazil, ends up being murdered by that other pro. He found out where she lived. He had premeditated this and threatened to kill her in game. She only took it as just basic jog on, mate, go away. Then he continued to threaten her, and he had recorded all of this evidence. Instead of feigning ignorance or anything like that, he said he wanted to do it. That mindset creates a massive stir in Brazil, creating another gaming council for them, which is understandable. Brazil is not the same law-filled place as you'd put, because if you're in the slums, it's a very different experience in Brazil. I've been to Rio. I've seen what has happened. Yes, it's a beautiful country, amazing people, but there's always still going to be that dirty part. Even the UK has it. And then here's another story. So 2 years ago, Fortnite World Championships, esports got brought into the limelight with the biggest bounty they'd ever seen. 30 million? That's not an uncommon number. Dota 2 for years has had 21 million, 22 million. That's just profits of winnings for tournaments. How much is spent on those could be 2 to 5 million. But just the amount of people comes in from viewership numbers, Valve has become one of the biggest industries in the world. Fortnite, Epic Games, that's become one of the biggest industries in the world as well. EA and other such game developers have kind of run esports through the mud. Higher ESPN have ended up creating their own esports channel, which failed because what did they have? No trust. They created a massive issue with esports saying it's not worth the money. We're just going to give you £500, go. And that created them not having enough funding. That created not having enough ways to research stories. Esports is a very, very entertaining industry. And now it is growing more than ever. As you've seen, Korea, China, and most countries in Asia, esports is massive. It is one of their biggest earners. It has its own TV channels. It's got everything. That started in 1990. They're still growing, and their country is still one of the biggest esports industries in the world. Personally, I'd love to learn Korea to go move there. But as you can guess, their esports scene is much, much more strict. And my last story, you can tell me this one's a bit too long. So I've been playing esports since about 14 years old, before it was properly allowed. So I started in Halo. In Halo, it was a very different game. I see myself as a single player. I'm getting in there to do this. When I got to 16, I started playing more Call of Duty stuff. Again, single person, pushing in. Until about 18, when Rainbow Six took my fancy, that's when I realized you need teammates. You need trust between people. You need to understand respect and individuality. You understand how a team works, team composition. Overwatch brought this into the limelight first with the Overwatch League. But again, not enough support caused it to fail. It's got back up again a little bit now with Valorant and other popular games such as that League of Legends. But in other such teams, Western esports will not hit as hard as Korea or any other Asian esports did because of the fact that we don't want to let it. And in India, they have had multiple chances to do this. They failed their CSGO. If you know about the CSGO story, where the guy had word.exe hack on a USB pen and tried to hack in front of a LAN event, that's how it kills your esports. One guy can mess up your entire esport. So.
Well, if you're talking about Brazil, you should see, in terms of horrific stories, you should see some of the stories I've heard about. Yeah, and that.
No, yeah.
Treatment, I'll put it that way.
I had to go with a more recent one. I've heard a lot of stories myself, but I had to go with a more recent one, which it's still fresh wound.
So that is interesting. So this is a career then. This is what you're doing now. You're a leader.
I am a coach.
Have you done any, apart from esports, have you ever had any ambitions in sports?
Yes.
Like things like baseball, basketball, whatever it may be.
I'm
not sure. It could be rugby.
No, I enjoyed playing rugby in school. It was a lot of fun. I hit hard. I always get knocked down, but I was smaller at the time. I didn't have the quite built physique, as you can see. But when it came to other sports, such as basketball, I always had great aim. I could always throw the ball even across the court. So I realized this is a lot of fun. I'll play with some of the local teams, see how they do. But it always came to height difference for me. I tried playing football, but that also came to the weight difference. I was actually quite a chubby and well-structured person. My body was not built for football, where they're quite lanky and they're quite fast. My endurance is there, but I could not keep up with them constantly. I realized this recently. I was in Mali for work. I played football with those guys every day. They are so fast, and their foot control is nuts.
So, yes, indeed. Well, I would say it depends. Physique, you see some of the. I've seen a lot of footballers. It depends.
Most of them will be bottom heavy, though, as you'd see. Like their legs are quite muscular generally.
So. Nah, I don't know. Height depends. What height are you?
I'm 5'9" now, so I was recently measured when I got back.
Yeah.
So I'd be about the height. No, I'd be about the height, but I'd still be on a bit of a shorter side at the moment. Because if I remember correctly, goalkeepers average around 6'1", 6'2". Strikers average around 5'8" to 5'10". And if I remember correctly, defenders, they're the guys who are slightly on the bigger side. And that's where I'd normally be placed, defender or center mid. So I have done my research. I even thought about trying for one of the local teams. And as I figured out when I was there, they're a lot bigger than I am. So.
Do you ever want to join any sort of sports apart from esports eventually, even as a hobby?
I have to go. Here's the thing. For me in sports, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love being in the thick of it. That's why it's hard for me to exercise alone. But to the same point, I could never see myself doing it because the amount of attention you'd get, the amount of you don't have the anonymity as I have when it comes to esports. For me, it's simply, hello, do my industry. Who am I? I can explain that quickly and out. Nobody's going to come looking for me. Nobody's going to come and saying, oh, you should do this. You should take our sponsorship. And if somebody does do that to me, it's easy just to politely decline and leave. Because I don't want it for fame. I don't want to be famous. I want to be infamous. I like having my own personal time. I like being away from other people. I don't like having my privacy invaded.
Okay. So you want to be respected in your profession, but not outside of it to the point where you get overwhelmed.
Yes. I'd rather not be the center of attention. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd rather be infamous. I'd rather not be the center of attention is the better way to put it.
I'm not sure, but I think discreet.
Discreet. That's the word. Discreet.
You don't want to have like too much fame. I get what you're saying. Okay, I sort of get you're generally there, right? It's just people go, oh, that means technically that. Okay, I don't want to be like that.
No, that's okay.
I get what you're saying. You don't want to be too famous to the point where
I can't play the game. I can't walk out in public happily. So yeah.
Then again, there are some positives.
There is, but it comes to the same point of there's a lot of negatives.
Obviously, you don't want to have that. Yeah, fair enough. That's fair enough. So, any academic history or
Um,
now anything you're interested in doing it again, or you just finish with that?
no, when it comes to education, I'm thinking of going back, but at the moment it is about money for me. I want to work, I want to get my experience. I'll go back and do a couple courses in production because production, no matter where I've got that client, I can work anywhere in the world now. Because if the software changes, I can manage a whole control room for my room now, so it's a lot nicer. It's a lot nicer.
That is pretty, I have to say. Well, then again, you can work anywhere in the world. So you have been traveling a bit, as you said, from Mali, and you've been to Rio.
I've been to Rio once, yes. It was a friend brought me for a trip, but I realized, wow, this is a really nice beach. Walk a little bit further down from the beach where the football stadium and stuff is. Towards the back of that, you realize it looks nice at the front. But of course, not always nice at the back.
The favelas, I think they're called.
The favelas, that's what, yes. Yeah, no, it's called favelas.
Yep. Did you play any volleyball?
No, I didn't. My friend did. At the time, I was a lot chubbier at the time, so I was a bit afraid of people's opinions. I've grown out of that now. So I've realized I should have done it. It would have been great just messing with my friends on the beach because some local people did come over to play with us as well. Everyone's really friendly. Most places you go, as long as you're polite, and you may not speak the language, but if you're polite enough to them, most people are nice about it. Except for in France. The France is the one place where do not speak French if you don't know how, because they are ruthless about it. It's one of the weird things I've noticed.
Yeah, that is. It's quite a proud. I would say it's a very proud nation, especially about their language as well. I've been to parts in Europe, and I haven't been to. Ironic, I haven't been to. Well, interestingly, I haven't been to France. Anyway, so that's interesting. What about political and individual views? What do you think about the current? If you don't want to go into too much detail, in case it affects.
No, it's okay. I agreed to this. I will stick it out wholeheartedly.
Do you fear the repercussions? Let's just say you say something as a joke. Okay, it's politically ill. It's politically not advisable to say it. It's politically incorrect.
Yes.
But it's a joke. Okay? You know it's a joke. Your friends know it's a joke. You get aspects of popularity. What then? It could backfire. Do you hesitate from saying any form of jokes or any form of comments because of the potential peer pressure and societal pressure caused by the recent political atmosphere, which could be merited and justified, but do you feel a bit of fear that if you said something that someone disagreed with, it could affect your career?
Mm-hmm. Well, the way I was raised up, it was speak your mind and be honest. But as I've realized now, cancel culture does not allow that. That is how us in the younger industry kind of define it as cancel culture. Like recently, people wanted to cancel Eminem for older songs. They wanted in the past to cancel Hawkeye, Robert Downey Jr., and one of the most notable ones is Jack Sparrow, aka Johnny Depp. As everybody knows, any claim can come out about anyone. Any history can be dragged up because it's the internet. It's always recorded. And that is such a terrifying, but actually, no, it's just horrifying in general. There's nothing special about it. It's such a terrifying and horrifying process of one bad joke you made 12 years ago can get you fired. Because that's what happened for the Guardians of the Galaxy director, which if you've seen the new one, it looks okay, but it's not going to be as good as the first one. Or if you go, no, I thought he got fired from he did the first one, got fired before the second one started, and then he got brought in. And as well, if you want another more recent one, Justice League. The guy who created Zack Snyder, sorry, I think it's John Snyder actually. I could be wrong. But Snyder got fired halfway through production. They cut most of his scenes from it, which ruined the movie. The first one that came out was horrible. Like, generally, my opinion is don't go to watch it. If you want to watch one, watch the Snyder Cut. Yeah, it's 4 hours, but it's really good. It is worth it. Like, I watched Harry Potter and it put me to sleep. I watched this and I was entertained for the full 4 hours. 4 hours. So.
Do you think that cancel culture actually leads to more extreme variants? Because for me, if you have an opinion you can't say, for example, if you've got a political opinion, no matter what it is, okay, I'm gonna be generous to both sides of the debate, and they can't express it, you can't refute it. Their career gets destroyed in the fringes of society. Then what then? What do? They can't be forgiven. So then, if someone can't be forgiven for saying something as a joke, right, especially a joke, right, I can understand aspects of it serious, to be brutally honest, but if it's a joke, then who do they turn to? If they can't turn to somebody, if, for example, let's just say for example, I can't forgive this person. You see a lot of the news outlets do it, right? Okay, there's a cancel culture, right, where you can't forgive somebody because they said a joke about someone 10 years ago. Who do they turn to? They don't turn back to the party that refutes them or pushes them away. They go to the extremes. This happened throughout history. And the more and more they cancel, they can't forgive, pushes them back
Exactly.
to the extreme elements of the thing. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Do you think I'm right, or do you think that? What's your opinion?
To be honest, I agree with your opinion wholeheartedly, because cancel culture to me is something that it should not be tolerated in any sense. Yes, there are things that should be fought against, but no, it shouldn't be a joke somebody made on Twitter 12 years ago to their friend. It shouldn't be something that has happened outside the statute of limitations as well. To the same point of, there's a channel called Game Grunts on YouTube. One of their guys recently, called Dan, had allegations brought up against him because he was grooming. That turned out to be a lie. And Aaron as well defended him. They are one of the most nice channels I've ever watched. I happily go back and watch them myself now. Game Grumps, when it comes to, they're controversial because they will fight to protect their clients. They will fight to protect their people behind them. Their sponsors can get attacked, but they're doing this not for the sponsorship. They're doing this for their people. They are looking after Aaron. They're looking after Dan. They were looking after JonTron. So they understand that how this has changed. I agree with them entirely of, if it's a joke, it's a joke. If you know it's a joke, that's fair. You can apologize for it. That's fine. A bad joke that falls flat on its face is a bad joke. That's it. If it's a racial slur, that's different. If it's a racial slur in a song, that's normally not that bad. It doesn't matter, right? If you're singing along with a song in the car, no one's going to give a shit. If you're singing and talking to people in a club and the song comes up, you shouldn't just mute your mic. You shouldn't just be quiet. You should continue. It's part of the actual song. It's part of the flow. And with people like Eminem, he had to create, he didn't have to. He chose to create something to fight back against cancel culture. It reinvented and shown what 2000s used to look like. We had great comedians having amazing jokes. And Robin Williams would be one of my favorite ones to go with this, because he was a really funny guy off of stage, but then he also brought that into movies, childhood movies, like, I still remember him as Genie, or Flubber, or Mrs. Doubtfire. He is an amazing actor. I'm sad to see that he's gone, but honestly, some of his jokes are hilarious. Like, I'm now 20 now. I go back and listen to his stuff now. That's 20 years ago. It was before I was born. What was it called? Nuclear Weapons. It's a great comedy one he had done. I will forever remember most of his jokes. My point is, if you try to go back to cancel Robin Williams, you will be scorned. You will be burned from this planet. You deserve to be, honestly, left out in the ocean. You can build your own island there. Nobody wants you anymore. Because Robin Williams is not somebody any allegation should ever be brought up against. But to the same point, who he is, you shouldn't be bringing up allegations to anybody after they passed. Like, all right, Michael Jackson is the exception to this rule because evidence has shown that he did the thing, but without malicious intent. So it's still the same point of, you're a bad parent. Don't blame him for that. He's a bad person maybe, but you're a bad parent. Or let's say Kevin Spacey. He was actually proven innocent, but he still did the thing. But again, she was over 18, so she had consent. So there's a whole point of, no matter where you go with this, you have to be the one to do this. And Ninja himself, everyone knows Ninja from Fortnite. He's a little CSGO professional as well. Ninja says his worst mistake is going back to be family friendly, and he is not a parent to your children. He is an entertainer. Anything that happens in his personal life should not be copied, and it should not be leading the future children. So educate your kids, educate yourself. It's the nicest way to put it.
Do you have any political views you want to voice now that you feel are underrepresented?
Underrepresented.
What do you see? What do you observe in the political environment now? That, except for council culture, where you can add
That's fine.
you are disagreeable with, or do you feel uneasy with?
There's a lot of things I would like to say, but the top two would probably be women in general. When it comes to how things are handled with them, people are quite touchy on the subject. Nobody just stares at the facts and is like, okay, this is the fact. This is what we know. We will wait until innocence is proven guilty. That is now thrown out. Innocence until proven guilty is completely gone. If somebody creates an allegation, you're guilty until proven innocent now, which that terrifies me in a whole different regard. So I have a friend who has now had an allegation brought up against him recently. And that allegation has now pit people against each other. And that allegation has now split friend groups. My best way of showing this would be innocent until proven guilty. Do you have the evidence? They have shown us the evidence now. And in the evidence, everything was consented. Everything was allowed. They wanted this to happen. But this seems to be a backlash of him breaking up with her. And that has caused a lot more issues now. So that's just my first point of, you're guilty until proven innocent now, which I honestly hate. It's something that should be disregarded. There's times where, yes, people should be ostracized, but not downright career ending. As you've said, they have nowhere to turn to. Once their careers are gone, there's no way of getting that back. That small bit of slander, even proven false, that's it, gone. Nobody wants to trust you in the industry because any other allegations come up again. Oh, it happened before. He's proven innocent, but it happened before, so we can't take him. So that's the point. Go ahead, jump in.
I know there are many arguments against or for this. I've heard many arguments against or for. But no, that's a very interesting discussion. Thank you for giving your opinion on that. Now I'm going to talk about future ambitions.
Yep.
Right? So what do you want to do? Not just esports. What's your ambition? What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years? Well...
So before I go on, so realistically, what you expect, what you want, could be what you expect as well, but what is your best possible destination, even if it's unrealistic, and the realistic ambition as well? I want a bit of both. I want to convey, so if type of discussion happens again in 5 or whatever time in the future, you can look back and reflect.
I've done a lot of reflecting in the last couple of months. I've realized there's a lot of things I would have changed about my past, like a lot of lies I've told, a lot of history I've done, a lot of actions I've done which I regret now. But in the next 5 years, I hope to grow to be a better person when it comes to that. I hope to be more honest with my loved ones. I hope to be pushing towards my goals. Gaming is still my main focus at the moment. But what I do hope to become is somebody that's more well-rounded, somebody who can get a better job, somebody who can work in different industries, somebody who can do anything to protect themselves, anything to hold themselves, anything to raise themselves up. Because no matter what, I don't want to be stagnant again. For 2 years, I stood still doing nothing and focusing on one subject, which that subject made me a lot of money, yes, but it wasn't worth it, in my opinion.
Then again, coronavirus.
That's my issue at the moment, trying not to stagnate due to COVID. I help my friends do this a lot now, trying to get them online work. And my players themselves, I have one guy, I can't give his full name, but Radio is short name for us. He is somebody we helped get a writing job. He is actually becoming a full-blown freelance writer who's being paid for it now. He does a lot of gaming articles as well. You may actually see one if you just scroll through Google and news and stuff. He is one that we have started with, and now he's leaving us for that occupation. He has done a lot. So, honestly, I'd be very surprised if the world doesn't go back to the way it is. Canada was able to do it. 95% of them are back into working. They have a lot of capital income now coming in. The only issue is if you're somebody who got paid a lot of money at the top of the bar, you just flattened out now, which is nice. But anybody who was falling at the time, you've bottomed out as well. So now it's what people in the industry called a K graph. So one side of the money is going up, the other side is bottoming out, and they're struggling to survive. They're moving back in with their family. So that is.
I would need. I can't. I can't put that into disrepute. I'd have to study.
No, it's understandable.
I'll go back to that anyway. But now it's for a Q&A. And then we'll finish this up. So, what is your favorite strategy game you've ever played?
Favorite strategy game? Halo Wars 1. That would have to be it. I played it on the original Xbox 360. I wasn't very good at it until I got a bit older, but then when I got it again on PC, I realized this game is a lot of fun. The mental mind games you play at it. I don't like chess very much, but checkers I'm fun at, which Halo Wars can become if you understand how you set up your strategies, how you set up your tanks, how you set up your movement. And same as StarCraft. StarCraft is a really fun game, but it becomes a 1v1 sort of thing, which I'm not good at. I'm better at 1v AI. So.
Okay. Your favorite country you've ever visited, and you have to pick one.
No. One country that favorite visited. There's a lot of countries to go through, but okay, I'm not choosing the UK since we live here. That's an obvious one. My one would probably be Africa, Mali, because the States is great, but again, it's the States. People are quite condescending there. It's a lot of traffic, it's a lot of movement. But Mali, it was somewhere I could work, somewhere I could talk to people. I couldn't speak French for anything, but the people I met were really nice. They were helpful. The sports was great. The food was amazing. Honestly, Africa is a different experience. I would say if you could go there to certain countries, go. Enjoy yourself. If you can't, then the best, closest I would say would be go to one of the Scandinavian regions, such as Slovenia. It is a very well-known, it's landlocked, but it's close enough to Italy that you can always just drive out to the coast. Is it landlocked? No, it's not. Sorry, it's quite, Slovenia. It's beside Italy to the left of it. Croatia as well. It's close to Croatia. Sorry, no. I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, I was thinking about it, but no, because I was originally thinking of a different one. Then I was like, I'm thinking of Slovenia. My memories come from Poland. Yeah.
It's a specific term. I'm not going to say it, but I think it's a different region. I don't remember the regional name off the top of the head, so I'm not going to say it.
I was thinking of a different one when I said something. Yes, you understand. So, okay, what's the next question? My friend.
Okay, final question will be favorite subject.
Favorite subject. As you know, our school didn't actually teach my favorite subject. My favorite subject was IT. I love the hardware side of IT, where it was always tinkering with machines, pulling them apart, putting them back together, putting RAM to systems, building computers. Software was the downfall for me in that, but as you can see, I've grown to accept it and enjoy it now. So.
Right. That's fantastic. Well, thank you for joining, and I hope I was a decent questionnaire.
You were.
And I let you voice your opinions and what you've achieved and what you hope to achieve.
Thank you very much for having me.